Hello, and welcome to the Venue Coach Blueprint for Owners. I'm Kyle Labar. This podcast is all about helping you fill your wedding venue with more bookings, earn more from each one, and keep your customers happy for a long time. We'll also talk about some tough times and big lessons that I've learned along the way. Let's dive in together and make your venue the best spot for weddings. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Venue Coach. I wanted to talk to you today about double bookings, which, unless you have space for multiple events in your venue or you have two different venues, that's not a great thing. So, first, I wanted to share a client's experience with it and then our experience at one of our venues and just ways that we work through it on how to avoid that mistake in the future. So the big thing with double bookings is it can be you you have committed yourself to two different events at the same time using the same space, and now you've pissed off two different people instead of just one. So the big thing that with the client that had happened, I don't know how it all got double booked, but it did, and so they were able to work through it a little bit. Had given some of the money back because of lack of fulfillment on some side, but then the couple apparently started demanding a full refund, and then some months later, actually quite recently, they got a court summons, so the client's trying to take them to court saying that, oh, you promised 3 days that we could have the venue and we only had it for whatever time frame it was. Unfortunately, the client has their contract and they're very confident that they, can prove that they actually were more than fair in their dealings with the client. And so the point of this isn't really to talk so much about that, but really on the mitigation of the issue, the underlying issue as a whole. So how do we avoid double bookings? And the key thing is to have a clear channel for keeping track of your events and making sure that it's all centralized. And so I'll give you an example of that not happening, and that was how my venue had a double booking. Was a commitment was made in an email and then forgotten about, and then another booking was made after that. And so, in the email, it was an improper form of, like, not that the email was improper or anything like that, but the the manager had said that they could have that date for a rehearsal dinner, despite it being well outside of the window of our policy to finalize rehearsal dinner times and dates and that sort of thing. And so it was months and months and months in advance and several months ahead of when we normally allow for locking in rehearsal dinners. And then it was a corporate event that was coming in at the same time that booked, maybe a month or two after. Completely, the manager completely spaced that she had made the commitment. And so we were able to work that one out. We caught it early, and we didn't wait for the day of to happen. We invited both groups out to discuss how we might be able to work around, because now we have two obligations that we need to fulfill. And we don't want to put our clients into a tricky spot where they feel like they're obligated, right? And so it's like, how do I juggle having to fulfill, like, having this obligation? I don't want to lose the money on either of them, and I got to make everybody happy, and sometimes that's very difficult, and it may not be possible. For us, there was just like a 30 to 60-minute overlap between the two, and so we were able to work it out a bit. We had the corporate event come in just a little bit later, and we gave some concessions on that. We gave them a round of free drinks, that sort of thing, to make that a bit more palatable. And so there's things that you can do to make it better. But I would say the biggest takeaway that I've learned from that is we stick to our policies. So if you don't if you don't schedule a a rehearsal dinner within, if it's not within 2 months, we just don't schedule it. So that's just policy. So we have to have people stick into policy. And then the other thing is, to avoid it, it's we got to centralize all the information. So we get it in the contract, we get it all written down, we get it everything everywhere, and then we update our calendars. And so that's crucial, is that it happens in the moment. And so then the last one is, in the event that it does happen, we have to mitigate the problem as soon as we find out about it. The sooner you find out, and hopefully it's well before the event actually takes place, the easier it is to actually mitigate the problem. So we found out, the manager tuned me into it, and I don't know how long she either sat on it or was unaware of it, but she tuned me into it. I think it was a week or two before the events were to take place, before the date in question. And so we had a few days to sort it out. And so, yeah, I think it was a week. And so we messaged everybody immediately, and then we brought them in and we worked it out. And then everybody was able to enjoy their time. So it was actually really fortunate that it worked out that way. And I just don't want to repeat that mistake again. So what I like to think about is, if I'm going to pay for a mistake, then I may as well learn the lesson that I'm paying for. So it's school. You look at mistakes like that as school. And if you learn the lesson, then great. You don't have to pay for it again. And hopefully you don't have to pay for the same mistake over and over again. So that's my hope, and I hope that actually you don't have to pay for the mistake that I've made and that this other venue owner made, and so that you can just avoid that cost altogether. So that's my goal with this one, is just to help you avoid the potential costly mistake, potential court. Imagine having to go to court for something like that. We want to avoid that altogether. So hopefully this was valuable for you. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one.